I learnt this from Kevin Samuels.
Okay.
All right.
Not many women learn things from Kevin Samuels, so I'm quite proud of this. But there's truth in everything, right? So if you're looking for the truth, you'll find the truth. If you're looking for why this is wrong, you'll find it. But he was talking about why so many black females aren't married, and how the generations above them, like their parents, their mums and their grandmothers, haven't taught them how to be wives, how to become a wife and how to be a good wife, which is true in my experience.
I'm letting you sing.
Yeah. This is not something I'm qualified to talk about.
So I actually went to my grandmother because she puts an immense amount of pressure on me. Why, when are you going to get married? Why are you not married yet?
Oh my God.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Family Podcast with your two favorite brothers. My name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And how are you doing out there? Okay, so we got a guest, Antonia. Hello.
Hi.
Yo,
Thanks for joining us.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
And so you should be.
Look at this guy. He gets nominated for an award, didn't it? And he starts acting.
I didn't even say that. You see Sammy, yeah?
We felt the energy.
Yeah, Sammy got that stirring point, you know. Who said anything about awards, my brother? No, I'm joking. Anyway, let's go.
So, Antonia, can you give a brief introduction of yourself?
Of course. So, my name's Antonia. I'm a maths teacher. I'm a maths teacher who created an online portal to try and help support secondary school students outside of classroom. Because I feel like a lot of students need extra support outside of lessons and not everyone has access to it. And I've recently published my first book called, thank you, Pythagoras Can't Pay My Bills.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, unless you're a builder or an architect, then it can. But generally, Pythagoras alone, it should have been called Can't Pay My Bills. And that's a financial educational book or financial education book for teenagers up until students in uni. A lot of my friends have read it and said, oh, I took some tips from your book and now I'm debt free and stuff like that. And it wasn't actually targeted to them. So I'm quite impressed by that.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to write another book aimed at adults?
I have thought about it actually, and I actually toyed around initially. I think I will. I think I'll come up with a second book for young people first, because there's some things that I didn't include in there that I thought might be too much all in one go. So I definitely want to do a follow up to that and something for adults. Because I feel like as adults, we haven't really been taught a lot. We just learned a lot of things through experiences. I didn't know about income tax until I was calculating what I thought I should have got and got something different. So I definitely think managing money could be, we
struggling out here, y'all.
Yeah,
trust me.
Ram up them lights.
Especially with prices going up now.
If
you can't manage your money, it's going to be a real problem.
Just talking about this, isn't it? Like literally just talking about this. But it's crazy. I always think to myself that it was one of the things when I was younger that we come from an African household, isn't it? So every African parent wants you to be good at maths, isn't it? But most Africans aren't good at maths.
No, so
that's not
let's
true.
rephrase
actually.
that. Yeah.
Most teenagers do what you think is different.
No, I was just about to say Africans who grew up in African countries seem to have a better handle on mathematics than the ones that grew up here.
Yeah, for sure.
True, very true.
So many of my friends are just not good with maths, you know? And I don't know, what do you feel about it? Because there's this a mythos behind maths, innit? Where it's it's this magic subject, innit? Where if somebody says, yo, I'm good at maths, you're like,
yeah, right.
You're good at maths.
Yeah.
You know? How much
I
do you
agree.
think of it as it being the subject is hard,
right?
As much
talent
to,
Do you know, I think that maths is a lot about memory.
Oh, yeah, I was about to...
And so I think a lot of the time, you don't even necessarily need to understand the concepts. If you've got a really good memory, you just follow this step, and you can do well. So if you don't have a good memory, what are you going to do? And so I think that's one big problem. Obviously, you do remember things when you understand as well.
Yes.
But I also think when I was at school, a lot of the maths teachers that were there, you know, they weren't like me. They were very old.
Yeah.
Not many black ones or BAME. And so the maths wasn't relatable. It was boring. You know, there was no personality. They didn't have passion. And so I think once you get that in the classrooms and you have some representation, I feel like you can access it more. Right. And that's another reason why I created the site as well. Because I thought a lot of people who look like me don't necessarily have a lot of teachers that look like me. And, you know, if a lot of the online support that's there in maths, there's no face. It's just a voice with a pen writing. That's not going to help you. It's not going to engage you. It's not going to help you remember. So you need someone who's, you know, bringing in real life stories to help you remember. Like I use Destiny's Child to solve equations. I use KFC to use dividing fractions and stuff like that. And once it becomes fun, you can remember.
Yeah,
and it's relatable, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, maths was mad boring,
bro. You know what's... Oh, no, I got to finish your point.
Did you enjoy maths? Your maths teacher was wild.
Okay, I'm just going to put this out there, innit? My maths teacher ended up going to prison for rape.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a terrorist. He was a madman. You know, he would throw pens at you if you got questions wrong. You know.
Oh yeah. Listen, people. You see, back in the day when we used to say, "Oh yeah, but we're from South London." Everybody says that South London is GTA and all the rest of it. You're about to hear it first. This is IMAX for you lot, yeah. Run the thing.
He was just an imposing character, innit? And because of that, it made you fearful to get questions wrong in his class as well. So he was just, I don't know, like he would take people's Snickers bar and eat it, you know.
Guilty. I mean, confiscating snacks is always a great pastime. That's probably not his worst quality, but continue.
It's nice to know it's actually a teacher.
You know, I mean, you're not supposed to have them in school. I'm thinking about your education. You can't learn when your insulin's raised and all that stuff.
Mad. Mathematics and science right here.
Yeah, so I remember one time there was two boys and they were fighting in the maths class. They got into it before the teacher came in. And he comes in and the boys freeze. And he's like, "What are you doing?"
No.
And they're like, no. He's like, "No, if you want to fight, we're going to fight. Everyone push the tables back." Bro.
What?
Push the tables back.
Mad.
Push the tables back.
Is this a boys' school?
Yeah, all boys' school, yeah. And then he was like, "Fight then." And obviously, you know, like what you were saying before, if somebody says to you, like, "Tell me about yourself," you go blank, innit?
Yeah,
like, when you're told by a teacher to fight, you're like...
Everyone just looking at you.
Yeah, what the hell is this? So they're looking at each other, and then he's like, "Don't fucking waste my time." And then, boy, everyone knew about...
Did they fight?
No, they didn't.
Oh.
They got too shook.
That's crazy.
You know?
I mean, it's kind of a reverse psychology.
Yeah. On one hand, it's very commendable, but it was wild.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And that's the maths class I studied maths in.
Imagine if you was a snitch and you went and told your mum. She'd probably just be like, "What?"
So no one actually found out about that?
I don't think so.
That's crazy.
They did now.
I mean, he's in prison. Maybe we can add on to his time.
It's true.
Swearing in the classroom for one.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? Yeah, I found that I bonded with teachers who did that.
Oh, so many of your teachers in your school swore.
A couple of them. But you got to remember, like I said, you got to remember, it was an all-boys school. So a lot of the time, there was a teacher in it. His name was called Mr. Fag. Yeah. Imagine what happened to him.
Right.
Ripped to shreds. He couldn't establish authority. And it wasn't just the name.
Yeah.
It was his appearance. It's how he looked, how he conducted himself, isn't it? So when you get a teacher, like one of my favorite teachers, shout out wherever he is, Mr. Wyszynski. He was like, he used to row at his university. He's one of the first guys I saw big traps, big shoulders, this, you know what I'm saying? And obviously he was a lad's lad. So you felt like, raw, he's less of a teacher. I don't know how to explain it, but he's less of a teacher, and another one of the lads.
Yeah. So
you felt really comfortable in his classroom, and that is one of the classes where I did very well in. So he taught history up until year 9, and I remember having a battle with my mum because my mum was saying I was getting good grades in history, and then I told her I wanted to move to sociology, but that's because I found out after year 9, Mr. Wyszynski don't teach history. So then I went. So me and mum were battling it out. She was like, go to the history class. I was like, all right, I will. And then they said, oh, if you don't like it, you can go for one class and then switch. I went there. Teacher. And the Battle of Hastings in 1060. I'm out of here, innit? You know what I'm saying? And so I moved to sociology, and I feel like it was better because I did well in the subject. So a lot of it, I feel like is, like you say, is personality and relatability. So some guys, guy teachers, they do swear still.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I have actually sworn a few times.
Oh, swear.
I have, but I don't feel like shit is a swear word.
Okay. That's interesting.
And once some students left a fake cockroach by my feet, by my chair, and obviously your natural reaction is to swear. Luckily they were like 12, so it wasn't that bad. But I think a lot of teachers struggle because they don't like to show their true selves, or that like they're a real person. It's all like, I'm the teacher, I'm in control, don't ask me any questions. It's very much like a lot of distance. And so I think if you really just are yourself, bring your personality into the classroom, you start to build that rapport, like what you're saying with your teacher. When I moved to Dubai, I started a YouTube channel, and students will stalk the hell out of a teacher. They go find you if you're on internet. So every school I worked in, they found my YouTube, and I used to tell teachers, I was like, the students know my YouTube, so I'm going to put you in this video if you're okay with it, but they'll probably find it. Oh yeah, that's fine. Put them in. Obviously the kids go into the classroom. Oh, Miss, I saw you with Miss Grey. And they can't take it. And I'm like, you can banter with the kids over this. They're at home searching you on the internet,
that's fact.
And they struggle with that. And I remember I got a complaint once. One of the teachers went to the head teacher to say, oh, this teacher's got me on this YouTube. She needs to take it down. And all of that. Yeah. Even though I asked him for permission, because,
him?
Yeah.
No,
man snitching.
Wait, say you got no tolerance. Bro, do you know what? Yeah, it's mad, thinking about children and what they learn, Because even on the way here, listen, I was about to lift one kid's soul out of his body, Because I was like, fam, if your parents don't know how to teach you discipline, I'm going to discipline you, innit? He's lucky that I was on my scooter, and to stop would have been detrimental to my health, innit? So basically, I'm pulling off on my scooter, doing the whole electric light thing, and then man kicks a plastic bottle in my direction. I'm thinking, bro, are you mad?
But was it an accident though?
No, bro, he grinned in my face, fam.
Alright, that's wild.
Bro, I would have spun his jaw,
Did you ever find that like hard balancing people's behavior? Because I feel like I'm just gonna go back to my time at school.
Welcome to South
We
London.
used to like when it was a female teacher, it was real hard for them to get the respect to the class. So I wonder if you had that issue as well.
I actually did my teacher training in an all boys school, and I actually I prefer it.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think just be careful here. The boys were very respectful.
Okay.
A lot of them opened the doors for me, and they were just really polite, over the top. I think it's weird because girls with female teachers or young female teachers, sometimes they can be a bit catty, and boys are the opposite. So it's weird that you said that it was like that in your school. I don't know what kind of female teachers were.
Yeah.
Were they older?
And they were kind of condescending, innit? Yeah. They say like, if your parents dragged you up instead of raising you up.
Oh, mad, that rubbed me up.
See what I'm saying? And so you get teachers who drop bars like that.
Yeah.
And we're like, we already didn't like you, innit?
Yeah.
We're gonna make you suffer. And our school made people suffer.
One of the teachers don't even exist anymore.
Bro,
that tells you enough.
One of our teachers, I'm letting everything out the bag.
Yeah.
What do we say about male snitches?
This is not snitching. This is a recounting of events.
You say it's already closed down, so might as well.
You know, one of the teachers.
You're starting your memoirs.
Suing, ended up trying to sue the school, saying that the students in her class, sent her into depression.
Oh, mad.
And I don't even know if you were there, bro. Like, her name was cool. No, I won't put her name out there, innit? But
what are you saying?
She was an art teacher, innit? She was an art teacher, and so that happened. Teachers got assaulted with snowballs, you know? And
you sound like you went to a terrorist school.
Yeah, his school is recce.
Like, that's mad.
But this is South London.
Okay, this is how you know, yeah? The year that I started, our school uniform was a polo neck,
mad,
a jumper, and a bomber jacket.
Bomber jacket? Did it have the school logo on it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was
a bomber jacket.
So I didn't go to his school.
My God.
But my school was just as bad. We had a school police officer.
Yeah, I've worked in school with police officers.
I think the idea for the previous headmaster was that he was gonna give the students some utility, and so he allowed the students to design the school uniform.
But you know what as well, right? So I like the innovation there. But also, you know, people say you dress how you want to be perceived or how you want to carry yourself. So like when you're going to school, you want them to be studious or you want them to learn. So you want them to be smart. So a jumper and a bomber jacket, you're a bit more relaxed and casual. I don't know if it's going to help your mindset to learn.
About the mood and that,
Yeah, but do you think that actually, because year 9, the head teacher decided that she was not going to stand for this, innit? And redesigned the school uniform. So it was a blazer.
It was a blazer before?
No, so
or after the bomber jacket,
so,
right?
Like I say, around about year 9, that's when things changed. So the people who were bellends before were still bellends.
Yeah.
They just had a blazer, you know, and they would come in the top buttons.
Yeah.
Like, where's your tie? Yeah, not even short tie. Where's your tie? I left that.
Like the change in uniform clearly didn't help the school.
No. Yeah. Savages.
Yeah, that's savages.
You know, like
yeah. Nobody wanted it with you, man. School. I can't even lie. You're just mad.
You got what? 500 young prepubescent boys crammed.
Yeah.
Into this. Come on.
With the brick school next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, your thing was nuts.
Do you know what though? I feel on both sides, right? So. When I was head of year 11 at one point, and so then I'm now kind of not battling, but having to work with teachers across subjects for students, you know, behavioral issues across the whole year group. And you'll be surprised how much teachers can sometimes antagonize students and then cry wolf or say they did this to me, but you as the adult who's in charge have allowed the situation to get here. But on the other side, you also have children who are terrorists. You cannot move forward in your lesson because this one child is there. So it's just, I think it's really difficult environment to like progress in sometimes with so many challenges. I've been in schools where the teachers are just it's just a power trip every classroom, and it's like, it's really difficult. So I can't imagine what it'd been like with 500 boys who also have their egos involved, you know, in bomber jackets.
Yeah, it was a wild time. Yeah. It was a great time, but it was wild.
Time to be alive.
Yeah, it was. I look back up on my time there very fondly.
It's a very fondly.
Yeah, because you know what it is. Yeah, I was never like I was never one of those kids who was on passer, innit? Because obviously you're gonna call my mum. My mum's African.
Who was on more terror, me or you? Oh yeah, definitely me.
You asking the question?
Knowing the answer.
You wanna get exposed on camera.
To be fair, yeah. But because I'm in the middle, yeah. You can blame it on me. I can blame it on S, innit?
Wow.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, you can't blame it on me Because
whatever.
You know what? No, truthfully, because especially in Winterbourne, innit? Yeah. I had the reputation of being a studious kid.
Winterbourne?
Yeah.
Means you're studious.
No,
is that right?
No, that's what the school is called.
Oh!
Yeah.
I was like, what are these studies you've been reading? No. When you're born in the winter, you are studious. I was like, well, I'm born in January. So I must be studious.
No. Sorry. The primary school was called Winterbourne.
Yeah.
It's all coming together.
Yeah, it's good that you're here because I would have just carried on. Everyone understands what I'm talking about. But, so, because me and Don are 3 years apart. So when I was getting ready to leave Winterbourne, he was entering the primary school.
Right.
And so I had a reputation for being quite a likable character. I read incessantly because like English was like my favorite subject. I was always writing like short stories and stuff like that. Even on Mufti Day where people brought in their toys and stuff, I was like, I'm just going to sit here and write a little something. So
wow.
I was always that kind of person. When I got to secondary school, I was still that person, but I had a chip on my shoulder as well, you know. So I remember one of the teachers saying like, you are one of the most arrogant little men I've ever taught in my life. I was like, oh, thank you, you know. So it's like
I've worked hard.
A lot of hours, miss. A lot of hours, you know. So
was this your English teacher?
Yeah, so my English teacher, and I remember like having an outburst because she was going off on one, and this was like before home time you used to have like a registration to make sure you've been to all your classes, so we used to do one in the morning, one in the evening. So she was going off about something. I was like, who's she talking to though? And everyone's like,
yeah, you know, in school that happens so much.
You know, and so I was just like, you know, miss, you're a teacher, but you're not better than nobody here, you know. Like, in fact, some of the people who are here are going to go on and they're going to do a lot better than you.
You went for the straight.
I just said what I was saying, you know. And she was like, I remember her face as well. It's like, I'm so tired. And she went, Sam, just go home. Go.
Did you have a good relationship with this teacher?
You know what?
Throughout
By the time I was leaving, like she's one of my favorite teachers. One of my favorite teachers to this day. Shout out Miss Sorensen. You know, but I think obviously part of it is trying to grow. Like you're growing as a person, and you're balancing academic achievement with social hierarchy in the playground.
And actually young people, that's their priorities, where they fit in. So no matter their studies, anything else, that is their priority. So when as an adult or a teacher we're saying, why would you do something like that? That's because their priority is not our priority is for them.
Exactly. And so I ended up having a really good relationship with her. I think she left when we were in year 9 and I got the worst English teacher ever. Like, I could not stand her, innit? And I think, you know, you don't know what you've lost until it's gone. I didn't think she could teach very well. I remember we were talking about Thierry Henry, and she had to write it on the board. And she wrote it with an I. And we were like, that's not how you spell Henry. You spell it with a Y. And she was arguing with the class. You've never watched this man play football before. His name's Thierry Henry. He's French. He's not English. And she's like, that is Henry. Like, we don't know. You know, and she would not concede. We're like, miss, it's not an I, it's a Y. Don't be so ridiculous. Don't be so ridiculous.
Is this the new teacher?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, and so she was like that. Sam talks way too much in class. He's
I can't
and then I would say like, miss, I weren't even talking. Oh, so I must be hearing you. Yeah, you are.
You're good. You see all that explanation, yeah? As a kid, yeah, I'll be like, yeah, miss, suck yourself, innit? That's it. We're done, bro. Like, we're not doing all this back and forth.
So you see, I wasn't like that.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah.
But there were things about teachers and the way that, like, you know, when you said some antagonize.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it, and I thought, well, You know how teachers always used to like to say, I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here to teach you. But that was my thing. I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here to learn. You know what I'm saying? So, teach me. But if you step out of pocket, I'm going to put you back in the pocket.
I do think that students act differently. I feel like what you're saying you would say to this teacher, if it was another teacher who you built up this rapport or you respected, you wouldn't cross that line. So I definitely think students know who and when to be like that with. And it's unfortunate for teachers who can't like manage the behavior in a classroom that have to experience that. But not everyone's made to be a teacher, unfortunately.
It's true.
I mean, I said that. I was like, you know me, innit? I always had a gripe with certain things. And one of the things that I had a gripe with, I was like, but I'm not understanding. You're moving me down in a set because of my behavior. Yes. Well, that just sounds like, to me, you can't deal with me. Well, yes. Well, what does that have to do with my educational attainment? Well, nothing. What?
Yeah, but some people would argue that your behavior affects the class.
And that's fine if you can put forward that logical argument, but some of you couldn't. And you're supposed to be teaching me. So I've already outsmarted you.
And giving lessons.
Yeah, I've got a problem.
Mr. Zara. Yes, sir.
So yeah, that's just me. Like, if somebody had said that at the time, I would have been like respectful. Like, for me, as you said, innit, your job is to teach me. So where I'm wrong, you step in with a logical discussion about, if you're going to match me, you're a child to me.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I saw it when I was younger. So if I'm going to rise to the occasion, I'm going to say, Miss Suck Yourself, and you're going to be like, get out now. Well, your job is to teach me. That didn't teach me anything. Now I'm going to teach myself, innit? Being out of your classroom. That's no good for anybody.
But also, you have to think, the teacher's there to teach 30 kids or students. And if this one child is slowing down the lesson for all the students, at some point you have to remove that student and
that's very
go a different way.
Because I would be very, very annoyed if my daughter was doing well in school and my son was doing well in school and there was one person who was impeding there. I would be like, why don't you take that person out of the class?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference between being a father
of course.
And a student.
But I also think that people who are gifted at teaching can manage situations very well. And I think this is one of the things that annoys me about general life, innit? Is that people go into what they think makes them money or what they think can help them survive. And I get it, but I'm like, you're just ruining people's lives. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, whether we like it or not, like, because like, if you're not gifted, as you said, not everybody's gifted enough to be a teacher. So if you're not good at teaching, you take something away from the class that you're teaching.
Do you know what it is as well? So you obviously have to be flexible as a teacher and know that one thing I didn't know until I became head of year was, well, not that I didn't know, I didn't appreciate, like, we assume as teachers that every student that's coming to the classroom is coming with their basic needs fulfilled. They've had breakfast, they've had a shower, they've had this life at home that we had. And so you just assume everyone, so you're there arguing with the student for not being prepared for lesson when they probably had to get their brother or sister ready for school. So their pen is not their biggest concern. And so that's one thing. Every student isn't equal when they come in the classroom. The second thing is, why is this student being disruptive? Is it because my lesson is too boring? Because that could be it. It could be it's too difficult or it's too easy or I'm not, so you really have to reflect as a teacher and think, this child is lashing out in my classroom for a reason. What is it? Sometimes you can't deal with it right then in the classroom and that's why you have to remove them. But it's not just a remove it, you have a detention, come back, same thing happens, remove you. And I did have another point in this, but the first one was really good, so we'll just say that.
So you taught in 2 different countries.
Yeah.
So
and I went to school in a different country as well. I actually went to secondary school in Jamaica.
How was that coming here?
So, well, I left here and went to Jamaica. And I felt real stupid. Yes. So days. I went and I was sitting in this classroom first day, and the class are doing their times table. 1 times 2 is 2. Fast. And I can't do that fast. I'm just sitting here quiet. I was not where I needed to be, or not in comparison to them. But yeah, I went to all the secondary school in Jamaica and then came back for college and university.
Okay.
It was a totally different experience, to be honest. Obviously, the discipline is very important over there. So I did one like a last term in like prep school, primary school, where they beat you. You don't come to school with your homework, you get beatings with a ruler. So that was new. They don't have social services out there. I quickly learned.
I mean, if you need some support, I've got something next.
And yeah, I think my life would have gone totally different had I stayed in England. No offense to anyone that this happened to, but a lot of my friends that I was like around before I went, you know, they have certain habits or certain offsprings that I don't have, which is cool. But, you know, my life just went in a different direction because I got taken out of that. My mum sent me there because she thought school was better there, not because I was badly behaved as much people think, but it was, to be honest. And yeah, college and university is obviously better here in my opinion, but I think secondary school there was good. It was better, but yeah, you were gonna ask a question and I just came in with it.
That's supposed to be in it. So I know that in Ghana, in it, they teach through song a lot. Is it the same in Jamaica or not really?
I mean, when it comes to manners and assembly and God, but not in the lessons and stuff. No.
Yeah. It's hard to gauge because my brother went there when he was like 3 or 4. And the time there, they were like, oh, it's best for him to try and go school before he came back to England. And so when he came back, he knew like his numbers up to 10 and this, but he used to sing them. That's how they do it. They sing it.
I guess in primary school, that's good.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that age, but I imagine at that age, it probably.
Then he come back here, all gone.
Yeah, imagine. You know? I wonder if that's where he got his knowledge of geography from. Because he's really good with like capital countries. And none of us had that apart from, I'd say, like maybe my granddad. No one's got that, so nobody even knows where he got it from. But yeah,
he's the only one that went to school in a different country.
Yeah, but it was only so he was on holiday there.
Oh,
so he was on holiday, and then part of the holiday, like all the kids were going back to school, like the kids his age. Right. So he just decided to go with them,
like a summer school type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of cool. It would have been interesting to know if he like did full school, how you like had differences.
I think he would have been
clear.
Like I agree with what you're saying, like in terms of there's a lot of countries where the schooling system, there's just something about it that allows the children to ingest more. And it might be fear. Like, you know what I get? Because my mum tells me stories about how, you know, the teacher will ask you a question. If you got the question wrong, then they're like, shame. Everybody, shame him.
No
shame
way.
Sam.
Yeah.
Shame Sam.
Yeah.
So who wants that? Who
Yeah.
wants that?
That's so bad.
You know what I'm saying? But
that was when your mum went to school.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're gonna stay in that environment, that's gonna make you feel like. Well, it depends on how much the social environment.
But it's a bit like that in like boarding school and stuff like that. You know, you kind of get that clique kind of culture.
Yeah.
And I suppose like even my cousin was telling me, because I remember speaking to my cousin about the concept of detention. And she just thought it was wild that the school would take your time. So I was like, well, what do you guys get for punishment? She was like, oh, when someone's rude or something, they'll make you sit under the chalkboard and they'll write with the chalk and then it'll just like fall in your hair.
Where's this person?
Like in Ghana, like
is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was like, and she was like, oh, so you just get beats. And I was like, okay, so you get beats. I was like, so if you had detention where, you know, basically you get kept in for lunchtime or they hold you after school, or you got beats, which one would you prefer? She was like, what kind of a question is that? I'll take beats.
What?
Yeah.
She was like, I'm gonna sit there and they're just gonna waste my time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So primary school they used to beat you, but in secondary school they didn't. So we had detentions and stuff. I remember once I got a principal detention. I had to sit outside the principal's office for the whole day.
Okay,
Our year group was the first year group to have a Saturday detention. The whole year group had to come in and clean the school.
Oh man!
Because they got this thing in Jamaica called Lasco. It's like powdered milk. And we had a Lasco fight. Our year group where we sprayed each other.
You should have known better, man. You should have known better.
So I'm not saying, behavior is great in Jamaica, but it was different.
Yeah. No, that is fact.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
So, so what was it like for you traveling and staying in a new country? I know obviously you've done it from Jamaica to here.
Right, yeah.
But like elsewhere.
So when I went to Dubai, I actually had never visited Dubai before.
Okay, yeah. Before all the influencers started flooding in there.
I went in 2014.
Okay,
So it was a while ago. Yeah, there was still a lot of expats there, but
you say pre the invasion. That's true.
Yeah, and I don't know what took me. I just wanted to go, got the job. I actually handed in my notice before I got a job.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not staying at this school another year. This is going to happen. So I handed in my notice. Then I got a job. And then I just went. And I think sometimes if you find one friend that you can go places with, you're fine. All you need is one person.
It's true.
And so I found my one person, and then it was literally the best time of my life going there. If anyone ever asks me, I'm like, you have to. Your standard of living is better. The different thing. There's so much to do. You make so much more money, but there's so many ways to spend it. If you can't save in England, you can't save in Dubai. Like, you need to be able to save if you're earning £1,000 or if you're earning £10,000. And that's in the book. But yeah, it's very different teaching there as well, because a lot of the students are international students. So they're a lot more comfortable with adults because they've moved a lot themselves growing up. And so I remember this one Russian child. You're not allowed to buy in the canteen when it's lesson time. I mean, obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, we're not serving you. Just picked up a banana and just ate it in front of them. Just thought, what you about to do about it?
I know Putin.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. The energy's just different with the students there. Like he used to drive to school, and it wasn't legal to drive at that age, but he used to just carry the fine in his glove department. So if he got stopped, he'd just pay the fine. Oh, man, just turn up to school in a Porsche. Watching your teachers come in there.
Imagine that though. Like,
can you imagine that was me? I was already reckless. Yeah. Imagine I was pulling up in Porsche.
No, it'd be different.
You can't do that in England, bro.
But can you imagine pulling up to be taught by people who don't have what you have?
Yeah.
And he's that. He's the banana guy.
Yeah.
So you can see, he's not scared to say what he thinks and stuff.
That's the thing. I think there's a level of comfortability that certain people have when they grow up around money. There's a certain way of talking that they're used to. And I feel like it can be very intimidating for people who aren't of that ilk.
Yeah. So. And also, if you have some form of doubt in yourself because you don't have that. Yeah. If you're conscious of it as well, it can cut you deep.
Yeah.
Not speaking from experience. My friend told me about her experience.
Oh, that is bad.
No, but that must be so humbling. Like, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, you do, what do you do? Like, well, we know what you're doing. Like, you act like a normal human being, innit?
You slice that boy's tires. What are you talking about? Let daddy fix the Porsche on that.
What happened to your car?
Hey, you belonged in your school, my brother. Yeah. We understand it now, Mr. Bomber Jacket. You get me?
You had to do a test again. That's good, yeah.
You say you passed with flying colours. Yeah. This was the studying that you was doing. Yeah?
Or the reading.
Hey, you got to get it, man. So, what would you say is a really challenging aspect of teaching that people don't appreciate?
So obviously we've spoken we said a few negative things about teachers, but like you said, I mean, I'm a teacher, so I could be talking about myself as my fasting alarm. Got to start fasting. This intermittent fasting life. It's really difficult being a teacher. It's so difficult. Like, you're there because you want to teach and you want to make a change in young people's lives. And that is the thing that the least pressure is on. There's so much pressure on teachers to jump through all these hoops. Like, you like to be in the classroom teaching, but you don't like working in a school and you don't like the educational system. And there's just a lot for them to cover in the space that they have. There's so much extra things that they have to do outside the classroom. There's so many meetings. There's so much expectations. So you can understand, or you can appreciate why they might not be able to keep it together when you're telling them to suck their mum. And you're just like, I don't have anything left.
The buyers pulling up in a Porsche.
Exactly.
I hear it.
I stayed here till 7 marking these books. You want to come take my banana? Yeah, so it's hard. And
I hear
it. If you think about the education system in itself, like, I feel like it's the only thing that hasn't really
progressed
over time.
I'm so glad it's coming from an authority because I'm saying it, but what do I know, innit? But the fact that you're saying it,
I mean, I want to say it's not fit for purpose, but it is fit for purpose if you think about what the actual purpose of education is. Like, when you're trying to create I don't know how free I should be.
A workforce. I'll say it for you, innit? When you're trying to create a workforce of people who just go on 9 to 5, clock in, clock out, clock in, clock out. You only need them to learn a certain thing.
But you're also training them to say, this is when you're allowed to eat, this is when you're allowed to leave, this is when you... And that's really you do at work, right? Your break is for this hour. You come in here, you leave then. You know, you do what I say because I'm the manager, which is your teacher. And so you're just being trained, and it's quite I actually felt like I was like in opposition to my true self. Like, I really want to educate young people on how to change their lives, or not even change their lives, but create the life that they want. Not just do well in exams, right? But I appreciate that in order to do well in your life, you need to jump through certain hoops that are out there, like getting a maths GCSE.
That's right.
But also, what long tangent, but what I learnt this from Kevin Samuels.
Okay.
All right.
Not many women learn things from Kevin Samuels, so I'm quite proud of this. But there's truth in everything, right? So if you're looking for the truth, you'll find the truth. If you're looking for why this is wrong, you'll find it. But he was talking about why so many black females aren't married, and how the generations above them, like their parents, their mums and their grandmothers, haven't taught them how to be wives, how to become a wife and how to be a good wife, which is true in my experience.
I'm letting you sing.
This is not something I'm qualified to talk about.
So I actually went to my grandmother because she puts an immense amount of pressure on me. When are you going to get married? Why are you not married yet?
Oh my God. The song of my life. But anyway, we won't even go into that because I heard it so many times.
Don knows all the words.
You can mouth it along while they're talking. When are you going to find a good man to take care of you?
And they try, do you know what, with my situation, they try to slide it in. So it's like, oh, Don, how are you? Oh, how's it going? Oh, yeah, And, you know, I was really thinking it would be really good for you to settle down. Why? Fam, the way they finesse it, fam, it's like they're weaving Joseph's cloak, multicolored cloak, bro. Anyway,
with their eyes closed. They've done this.
Different.
So yeah, I actually went to my grandmother and I was like, you know, you always putting this pressure on me, you know, why am I not married? When am I going to get a husband? But what have you actually taught me about being a wife, how to become a wife? And she said nothing. I said, so don't you think it's a bit unfair then that you're putting this pressure on me? So then I asked her, you know,
what? You finessed the way I finessed in school. I'm quite proud of that, yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Had some balloons and that.
Now you got a counterpunch when you get on.
Exactly. And I did ask her, you know, what do you think makes a good wife? And just to see what she had to say. But the reason I brought that up is because it's the same thing with money and finances.
Yes, it is.
How much do parents actually talk to their children about finances and stuff? Like, when you're going to buy a car, you're like, oh, we're getting a new car. That's it. It's not like, this is how we're getting it. We're going to get it on hire purchase, or we're going to buy it cash, or, you know, like, you're not really educating them. Everyone is literally learning for themselves. It's like, why do we not pass on what we learn so that they can start from that starting point and then continue? It's like this.
Shit. Kind of blew up my argument.
Because you know what,
my mum teaches me.
No, but you know what, because I feel like and I don't know who else it relates to, but for me, like my parents used to tell me to save.
Yeah.
Save your money. And then that was the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay.
You say that, but me and you are different.
Yeah,
right?
so it was like, because I was the guinea pig. And then you got the refinement. And then Simon got the distilled.
No, but you and F still have similarities.
Well, no, we do, of course.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is...
It's a work in progress.
I'll let you speak in it, and then I'll speak in it.
And so there's an interesting thing to siblings as well. Because there's group learning. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember asking my dad, like, it was along the lines of, so how comes I got taught this, but Don didn't get taught it? And he basically said, we teach you so you can teach him. And then he teaches the other one. And then you learn lots of different things through...
cross-pollination.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not bad, though, because you think times are moving. So what they taught you might not necessarily be as relevant as when you're teaching.
You know what I thought it was as well? Like, I thought it was me and Sam have Sammy has different learning style to me. Do you know what I'm saying? So with Sammy, like, remember, like, he's literature-based. Yeah, so... my parents didn't write stuff down. Right. Do you get what I'm saying? They just know, like, you know, like when you see your mum in the kitchen, she's not measuring nothing, bro. She's just like, bow. But like with Sammy, like, he's very structured in his
He's
learning,
got to see this,
one
cup of this.
Grill for 5 minutes. Grill for 7 minutes, then I know exact. And a lot of the reason why I struggled in school is because there was not enough information. Like, I need to be shown point A to point B to point C to point D. Now, I understand that's very taxing for...
No, that feels like normal. Yeah, I feel like, isn't that how...
No, because I don't like that.
So, but isn't that how you were taught?
So do you see what the difference is?
So it was like...
No, he wasn't.
So a lot of the times, there was the assumption that you would learn a certain group of things. Yeah. And if you don't learn them, then it's real hard to match up. Yeah. Especially as you continue to grow through your education, because... The concepts get more complex. And if you're always struggling to relate them back to the root, you waste a lot of energy that other people don't waste.
So it's like you had gaps in your learning. Yeah. That wouldn't allow you to build on it.
You know?
Because I learn by doing. Right. I've always been that way. So while my mum's cooking, if I'm watching it, like, I'm naturally going to pick it up. Whereas when he's watching it, he's probably thinking to himself, where's my piece of paper? Because I know that I'm going to forget the same place. Yeah,
and... How much is in the
dollop?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Somebody needs to tell me. So
I'm just, and with me, I'm like, so when he says something like that, I'm like, bro, like, taste it. Yeah. Because like what mum wants is never gonna be what you want. What if one day you don't want that dollop of spice? Do you get what I'm saying? It don't work for you today.
Yeah, but okay, so two things. One is, this is another reason why teaching is so difficult, because you need to accommodate for all different types of learners in your classroom. And you can get lazy and not do that. But obviously a good teacher will consistently have your visual, your, different types of learners. Yeah. And I'm a similar learner to you, where I need clear instructions, and it could be like, I don't want the spice. So then you say, okay, so if you don't want it as spicy, you take this thing out. I need it to be clear.
I reduce it by 50%. All good.
Yeah. I hear you guys. Yeah. So for me, because I don't work like that. Yeah. Like, that's the reason I think why I got so much from my parents. Whereas, like, I can understand, like, as me and Sammy talk and we just vibe as brothers, I understand more of why he is the way that he is and feels the way that he feels.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, I don't like uncertainty. Yeah. Like, it would... Do you know what's mad? I'm going to reveal... I've never revealed this before, but it's like, if I... This sounds so bad. If I went to university and, say, for example, you had a morning class and you had an afternoon class and then, like, a late afternoon class and morning class was cancelled, I'm not going to any of them.
See, but I was never like that.
I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, I'm like, what? So I'm supposed to stay here, just roam around like a dickhead? I'm not doing that, innit? So I'm very ordered. I get it. And it's the problem is, sometimes, and I think people say that about people born in May, like, they can be stubborn, innit? So once I'm in a routine, it's real hard for me to get out of the routine. You have to I have to spend a lot of mental energy breaking away from it and trying something new. Like sometimes radically, you know, otherwise the behavior just continues like that because I'm very, very ordered.
You know what's mad, yeah? My homie put up this meme, yeah, and it was like, once a tourist starts touristing, leave. And I was, bro, like, you were the first person that I told. And I was like, yeah, this is mad.
I don't know if that's a compliment or you know.
Yeah.
But are you like that when it comes to like habits and stuff?
Yeah.
Like if you are into the gym and you go every morning, would you just
go every morning?
You wouldn't be able to break.
Don't know. Like there was a phase. There was a picture of me. I'm shaking hand with Flex.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name again?
Flex
Washington. Lewis. No,
Oh,
Flex
Lewis.
Lewis.
I was gonna say Washington.
No.
I figured it wasn't, so I kept my mouth closed.
Well, clearly I did it.
So
And I was there.
Flex Lewis is one of the premier bodybuilders at the 212 category. I don't think he competes anymore, but he was elite. And I got into a stage where I was training all the time. Like it was, I had a book.
And he was eating
to
right
write
as well.
down. I used to, if I went out with some of the guys, I would have like chicken in foil at the cinema.
It's kind of like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, so it's weird.
He used to have this like bag, and you pack like 6 meals into it. So he'd carry around this bag.
And my gym bag as well.
Yeah, it was so annoying. Like, we'll go to my grandma's, like Sammy's got this little carry case.
That's mad, yeah.
And then, like,
that's good. That's really good.
The habit built and built and built. But then you move somewhere else and the gym might not be as far, and then the habit dies and you pick up another one. And that's what happens. Like, I'll go through a stage where the only biscuit I eat is custard cream biscuits. Every time. And every time I go into the store, I'm like, I have to.
Might also be pregnant. Not based on sight, based on the habits.
Yeah, that's mad.
So it's a bit like that, innit? So for me, but I understand. One of the questions I want to ask you before we like go somewhere else with it, is there are a lot of like apps now. Like obviously you've created your space as well. Things like Skillshare and stuff like that. Do you feel like that's further along down the line, that's where education is going to live? Like people are going to say, I don't want to go to university, and somebody's going to come up with like an Amazon for education where people can select, you're going to select this, and that's your course, and you get a certificate, and you know.
Well, there's kind of, like you said, there's a lot of things like that now. So I think the open university where you can pick the different modules that you want to do, you do everything online. I think a lot more people are homeschooling now.
Yes.
I think people are seeing certain flaws and getting creative with solutions. I actually would love to homeschool my child. After primary school, I feel like there's nothing real that my student needs to learn in secondary school. They need to learn about the brain, the eye, Shakespeare. If we traveled the world and they learned about cultures and money and how to build a business, if that's what they wanted to do, unless they wanted to go into a profession where they needed education, I just feel like there's this... I've just gone here, but there's so much that it's a big question, right?
Of course.
A lot of what we value in life, someone before us that we have no idea decided that we should all value it. Lots of things, marriage or education or what in education,
even
like
marketing the diamonds.
Exactly. Once tulips were heavily valued because someone decided, and so
NFTs. Don't ever get me started.
But it's just crazy how we kind of all just follow on to what someone tells us to value, and so I think a lot of people are kind of getting a bit more conscious and thinking, you know, what is important to me when it comes to raising my child or how they learn. So I think there's a lot of space for that direction, especially with tech and the internet.
It's blown the doors off almost every single
every industry.
In every single industry. And the last one that's holding on for dear life is like education. You know, even religion.
I'd say healthcare and
but you look at
but even like
online, social care. I suppose we're moving.
And also the surgeries that could be done, like you know.
Like, I know my boy got keyhole surgery, and he was like, bro, like, it was so efficient. Like, the scar was so minimal as well. Like I
watched in it, and for anyone who doesn't know, it's about these two plastic surgeons who live in America, LA, and they're like the best of the best when it comes to cosmetic surgery and stuff like that. And they take people who's had work done and it's bad, and then they redo it to a satisfactory or more than satisfactory level. And so there was one episode where we was talking about the change in the material that they use for breast augmentation.
Okay.
And you don't even think about that. Like, it's like, oh, once a plastic titty, always a plastic titty. But it's not,
it's
innit?
not,
you know, there's lots of different surgery types. You put one in this way, this.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it crazy how the implant they use has changed so much over the years, but education is still the same? Vacuums have developed more than the educational system.
That's crazy. That is
mad.
Like, at what point are you going to add things like buying a house and a mortgage and credit?
Yeah.
You know,
education system,
yeah.
As you have to teach these things. Why is it not important to know about credit scoring?
Yeah,
and
me.
What is debt and credit and just like.
My boy just got a curve card. Have you heard of those cards? So basically,
I think it's the car.
Card. So basically, what it does is for anyone who's got more. This is not advertisement, by the way. Innit? I'm just giving information. So for people who have multiple cards, it puts all your cards on one.
Yeah.
And just deciphers based on like how much money you have in like
each account.
Like, you can set it to say like, listen, this account, bro, don't go there, innit? Like, go from this account, innit? And that's what the card does, innit?
Oh, that's mad.
And then it
it's
I think you get interest as well.
Seems a bit weird though. When you just open your bank and see which account you can use. What difference does it make?
It's set up by an app, innit? So I'm assuming that you can set your priority cards.
So you could just see all your account balances in one app.
In one app, yeah.
And then if one's low, it won't use that one.
Yeah, it won't use that one. Yeah, but what I don't know is whether you set the priority or whether you don't. For example, you may start the month and be like, this is the card that I always use when I run.
Yeah.
So that use this card second, innit? If this card has no money on it, use this card, innit? So it doesn't really decline, it just goes through.
Right. I hear what you're saying, yeah.
And I think you also get like some added incentives or something, but as I said, it's not advertisement, so I don't know what I'm talking about in terms of advertisement. So like, I just gotta let people know, innit? Doing it for that. So, Curve, if you want me to do it for that, give me the information, send me the pay packet, you know the deal. We won't go into it too much. But yeah, so basically, you know, that's what it does, isn't it? But someone may not even know that exists. And there was a time where it didn't exist.
Yeah.
So trying to explain a curve card to somebody like mum and dad, for example, it's going to take them a little bit more brain power to use. But whereas if we had... what do they say? Like a living education system, which was working with the times. That would just be something that would have been included into the syllabus, like laws. Yeah. You know, as soon as people started to get mobile phones, they were like, "Listen, this is dumb. We can't have people using cars with a mobile phone."
Yeah.
Hand. They're like, "We need to stop this."
They moved with the times.
Yeah. So, you know, I just think we can do a little bit better. Like, this is our future generation. Like, we're trying to build trying to build sustainable wealth, really, for a country.
And also, like, there's only so long you can say, why aren't they teaching it in school, before you have to take control of your own child or children that you know. Like, what am I going to do to help them? It's like, it's the school's fault. Like, we're victims here. Yeah. You know, there's only so far you can be the victim and be like, okay, what can I do differently now?
I say that all the time.
Always says like, there's an expiry date to your...
excuses.
Yeah.
All excuses have an expiry date, and I think that is one. We've been saying it for long enough now. That now we need to, and that's why I think being a parent is a really, like being a teacher, is a really important thing. Like, it's not something that you should rush into. Yeah. Because your auntie's asking you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things, because you have to have some things to pass over to them.
Yeah.
You have to be able to see the world clearly enough, and that is difficult. You know, because it's ever changing, you're ever changing. But to have some kind of utility that you're going to give to your children in order for you to say, like, I'm giving you this so hopefully you can understand things a bit better. So, like, my thing is my daughter and my son, but my daughter, because she's a bit older, it's very important for me to get her to make decisions.
Right.
So I don't tell her, like, this is the only cereal you have, and that's what you're gonna eat. It's like, do you want porridge today, or do you want like toast?
It's interesting that you're saying that, because I feel like as adults, teachers, parents, we solve children's problems too much. We finish their sentences for them. We don't even allow them to be able to finish their own sentence, because we know what we're going to say. You know, they have a problem. We don't challenge them to solve it themselves. Even as a teacher, if I've asked you a question and you've told me the answer, it doesn't quite make sense, but I understand what you're saying, I will rephrase it for you. That's not what I should be doing. I should be like giving you the space and time for you to get there. And that's very good that you said that.
Because it's like a bit like if you ever have therapy, you realize that the therapist is not going to give you all the answers. They kind of ask you a question.
They prompt you.
And let you think about it a little bit. But it's hard, man. Sometimes I see my daughter, like back in the day, I saw my daughter and she's trying to zip up the thing and she's trying to put the clip in and she's doing it and she's missing. And I'm like, yo, Tesco is moving so long right now. You know what I mean? But she's trying and it takes a lot of restraint as well.
Yeah, no, definitely.
To be like, okay,
this is
her time, innit? But as well, we've also told her, like, if you're struggling to do it, ask for help. Because that's another thing that doesn't get taught.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you suffer in silence.
And making mistakes.
Exactly. It's really important, you know? So I think there needs to be a lot of
the culture
re-education.
Of
the culture of learning, like you say, needs to be kind of.
But I think we can't do it like, I also feel like we can't do it alone like that, innit? Like, we have to build smaller hubs. So, for example, like, I don't know, I'm good with like my actual hands. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, making, I mean,
Mr. Zara.
No, I'm joking. You're onto me. But yeah, like, I'm good at like making stuff. I'm good at hands-on things. I'm good at like electronics and stuff like that. Like, those are the things that I like to do. You may not be good at that. You may be good at English.
I think he's saying that you're not good at it.
So
you may not be good.
He just doesn't care about
candy coat it. You may not be good at the things that I'm good at.
He doesn't care about it. Like, do you get
we all know what he's trying to say.
But I feel like that's what makes our partnership work.
Of course.
Because
do you get what I'm saying?
Don doesn't want to sit and go through emails.
It's like yin and yang. You work together. You complement each other.
If we were the same, it'll be like, yeah, but I'm trying to do that. But I'm trying to, like, look, let me take the lead.
You could do it better like this. Why don't you do it this way?
Yeah, and you just get into
But is this not what, like, Parsons was talking about, like, with the old boy? Was it Parsons? Old Boy Network?
I don't know.
Oh, you can't. Oh, you were just banging sociology. Anyway.
Sociology 15 years ago.
All right, calm. I allow you. Yeah. But
and I'm not, I feel like sociology leans too much to the left.
Okay,
Like, I remember our subject on Durkheim was like this. Like, and functionalism.
But your subject on Marxism
was like this.
Yeah.
You know, and everything was about, oh, you're oppressed. Oh, thanks. You know, like, and there's oppressors and da-da-da. It's like, but I feel there's a really important message to, like, I don't want to go down this way. But anyway, I feel like there's a really important message.
I let Pandora out the box.
I think there's a really important message to the idea that people work together. And if you don't, you cause a breakdown in society.
Of course.
And then people don't work together anymore. And that part is missed because people like the sexiness of revolution. You know, the tearing down the old guard and reinstating something new. But a lot of the ideas that we've had, like that, the conclusions that we've come to, like, they're thousands and thousands and thousands of years old.
Yeah, bro, like, veganism, was literally idle living. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And you went into other people's countries and basically ruined it and was like, yeah, but the stuff you're eating don't make no sense. Let's build, like, bare McDonald's and KFCs in your land, And then you made people eat that, and then you're like, oh, shit, people are kind of getting sick from this, you know?
You know what we'll do? We'll charge double the price.
Yeah, and just rebrand it.
For what you already had.
Yeah, what you already had.
It's ludicrous, bro.
It's wild.
And we're all like, yeah. That's why I like technology.
I had a vegan lasagna today.
Yeah.
£7.50. But this is something I do want to ask you as somebody who's written literature around spending and stuff like that. Do you feel like right now it is so hard to hold on to your money? Like, I look at social media and all the ads and everything. And if you click, like, this is an experiment for people. If you go onto a lot of these ads, yeah, and you click on them, a lot of them are charging so much more money online because it's online. I don't know why. For things that you can pick up cheaper. It's just made to look real sexy. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, I'll give an example. I went and I clicked on this thing. It's like a back scrubber. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're like, oh, removes like 99% of dirt from your body. Your body's gonna feel so smooth. Like, click on it, and it's like £50.
Sucker.
It's branded.
Yeah. And I'm like, but you know what?
I'll $5.99.
But do you know who finessed as well? Uber Eats, Deliveroo, and all of that. So I remember when they first came out, I was like, "What? This is actually it's not bad. It's kind of cost effective. I'm just paying for the driver to get here." Then one day, I remember opening that. I was like, £50, my brother. Are you sick in the head? Yeah. What, for season down, bust down chicken? Yeah, that's £50.
We're paying for convenience.
You're up the road
so much.
But I feel like they set the marketing because I thought they started low to show everybody that they needed it, and this provision was ready and available for you to help you with your life. You know, don't step outside while it's snowing. God forbid you have a fall. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Order a McDonald's. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you kind of got used to it.
And then they put the price up. And then it was
like, oh, pay £2 for priority. What? How far in the list am I going to be? Then you get your chips and your chips are cold. Yeah. You're thinking, wait, what?
If I just pay the £1 the next time, and that's how you introduce ideas. You do them very slowly. You introduce it, oh, convenience. Yeah, you like a little bit convenience, don't you? Okay, pay for this. Oh, we'll bring it in a car instead of a motorcycle. Isn't that great? It's going to keep all the heat in, so it's not going to be outside. Okay, pay for some priority. Come, we got you.
Yeah.
And there's so much of that in this culture. Like, I remember, if my mum was cooking fufu, there's no old Uber Eats.
Yeah.
You don't, that's what you're eating.
My little brother,
you know? But my brother will be like, you know what?
Wow.
I don't fancy that.
You know he's the only one who's like that, you know? Yeah. Yam, all that hard foods, like, nah. He's like, yeah, he's not
you
on it.
You can get that on Uber Eats now, though.
Yeah. but he just don't want that. So he much rather just open up an app. So I remember at one point, it was like, he was spending all of his money on takeaways. Because he just had so much choice. It was like, yeah, I'm not eating that today. Let me get a Mama's Pizza. Let me get a Domino's. Oh, yeah, nah. How about we pull up on a Wingstop? Yeah, nah. And
do you know what it is as well? Like what you're saying about spending, because like it's like 12 pounds. When no one really sits down at the end of the month to calculate how much did I spend on Deliveroo or Uber? How much did I spend on taxis? If we took hold of if we actually budgeted or even reviewed the month more, we would be able to manage it better. But there's a difference between having the money, because you have the money to do these things, but can you afford to do it? That's a major difference. So you've got £100 spare, you could get those trainers, but really when I realized this, actually, I did a budget for the year for the first time a few years ago, and I worked out how much money I get in the year, and I thought, okay, I want to spend 10% on holidays, 10% on fun times and stuff like that. And then I worked out I had like £1,000 or something for holidays, and I'd already planned like 4 holidays in my mind. And it was only then when I really looked at the bigger picture, I really saw, wait, I would have still gone on those trips if I hadn't planned it, but then I wouldn't have put as much into investing or savings and stuff. And so that's the main thing. I literally now look at my budget every single day. Like, I edit it every day, update it on what's come out, what's still there, just so that I can make sure. Because what happens, right, when you don't look at your budget enough, things like saving and investment are the ones that drop off. Those are the things that won't go. If you don't have the money, they won't go. Because you're not disciplined enough. Whereas really, they should be the ones that go. And the social and the fun and food is what, if you really overspend, that's where you should suffer, not in your savings. And something you said earlier about like our parents teaching us to save. That is what every black parent teaches you. Save. But even saving in itself makes no sense. Making your money sit down in the bank. You're just losing your money. So that's the main thing. Buy a house and save. Now, I don't even necessarily know if buying a house right now it makes sense. How many people have bought houses that are stuck in jobs that they really don't like because they have to now go to work to pay for the mortgage? Because the buying the house wasn't an investment property. It was a house for you to live in. Yeah. So many. I'm really on one now. Like I find that in our culture, I say our. I'm not throwing shots at my mom. We're quick to charge our children rent for living at home when they get to a certain age. You don't find that in other cultures. You know, Asian people stay at home till they're ready to buy the house. They move in as a family even when they get married. And we're not charging you. I feel like if you're going to charge me rent as a child, you put it aside for me. And then when I'm ready to buy a house, you give it to me as a deposit.
So that's the thing that I can say. With my parents, they were big on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some things they didn't explain. And this is where me and Sammy differ. Like, at one point, as much as a rebel as I was, I understood that I didn't understand the fortitude of life, innit?
Right.
And I understood that they don't owe me anything to explain it to me.
Yeah.
Like, I do understand, like, you had me, you should educate me and all the rest of it, but come on, like.
Well, part of it is that.
You die, though,
yeah, but part of it is that they don't have all the equations. Like, it would have never been in mum's plans to say, like, go do a podcast. You know?
Yeah,
so
of course, yeah.
There are, and when I try to give my daughter advice when she's 16, 17, there will be gaps in my technological awareness.
Yeah.
And like we say, the times always change.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, sometimes when I talk, it might sound like, oh, they should have taught me more. That isn't the...
No.
I'm very grateful to my parents because they put a premium standard on education. And one thing that I clocked like a couple years back is that the gangster lifestyle never ever appealed to me because my parents always encouraged me that I could make a lot of money in legal ways.
Yeah.
You know, and so they put that in me. So I never felt like, oh, if I don't do this, that, you know, and there was never a situation where nobody's got food. Mom and dad are out the house and I'm like, how am I going to feed my brothers?
Yeah.
Because my parents took care of that. You know, so I don't want it to sound like that.
No, not at all. But this is a blanket thing as well, like what you see, for sure. Yeah. But like,
no, so go.
Like, there's no guidebook to being a parent, as you know. And so I don't think it's normal. Like, I was talking to my grandmother and it wasn't normal for her to sit down with her mom and talk like how we talk. So she wouldn't have been passed down things from her mother. And so it wasn't that normal. She had to do something that wasn't normal to her by sitting down and talking to her children. Right. So obviously, as the generations go down, you start breaking these generational curses. So it's about being aware of our shortcomings and what we can do better and not parenting and teaching by default. Because that's what's normal. You just sometimes you parent or you teach how you were taught, how you were parented. If you don't actually sit down and think, what is important to me to teach? What do I want them? I want them to be able to speak up for themselves. But every time you say it, telling them children should be seen as not heard, it doesn't match up. So we just repeat things. So I just think as we keep going and breaking these things, we have to be more intentional when we're doing things. And so it's like, be more comfortable talking to your children about finances because that's a taboo in our culture. Even just like you not being good at maths. I feel like parents are very comfortable to say, oh, I was really bad at maths when I was a kid, which kind of makes the children feel like it's okay for them not to.
Did all right,
yeah. And it makes them not as resilient because their parents have kind of, you know, made it acceptable. You don't hear people going around saying, oh, I can't read and write. But obviously it's not the same, but you know what I mean? So
but it is in a way like this. There's a gap in communication because I remember listening to this guy and he was like, a lot of people don't understand compounding. So like they'll take something out and it will say 5% finance. And they look at the number 5 and they're like, that's tiny.
Yeah.
You know, but it isn't.
Yeah.
You know, and so a lot of, like you say, when you, somebody who doesn't understand mathematics, they're at a disadvantage when they come into contact with people. This is why you see a lot of like rappers and stuff.
Yeah,
they're signing deals because they've seen a tiny bit of the amount. And like what you were saying, there's certain things that they feel like they can like buy now, but they can't afford it.
Yeah.
So they're going to Jacob getting bust down.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't realize that the money that they have actually doesn't stretch that far. Because when the label come and
the career has a time span.
Exactly.
If you don't plan these things, I agree.
Yeah. So what is next for you?
Ooh. Find me a husband like my grandmommy told me.
At least you'll be able to teach him maths.
Yeah.
Like that, you know,
Teach him about some money.
Trust me.
We're gonna put your Instagram on this as well, so you know, just circle down in the DMs, innit?
Trust it.
It's funny. So I'm just pushing the math side. I think I know I'm an excellent maths teacher. I have a proven track record to bump in students' upgrades when they don't believe in themselves. I give them that belief. I've had students that were like, Miss, I need to do foundation. I'm on an E, left with a B in 1 year. Wow. So I know that I could do that. And so that's why I've created this site, because I just want to impact as many people. Because what's next for me? In school, trying to remind myself where I'm going. In school, you get your Ofsted reports. Black Caribbean students are one of the most
underachieving.
Yes. And so that hurts me. Yeah. I'm in a school and I can't even really help my own people. So it's like, how can I, on a wider scale, help them to get where they're trying to go? Yeah. And so that's my main aim. And whether it be through financial education with the book, whether it be the maths, it's like whatever avenue I'm trying to, I signed up to be an educator. Maybe not the traditional way anymore, but I've still committed to that. So that's where I'm going.
Yeah,
I love
sick.
that.
Yeah,
make sure you go and you check out Antonia's stuff.
Educate yourself.
Yeah, man. She sounds like a fantastic educator. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We've been looking at the stats in it.
Yeah.
Bare people watch this.
Maths, baby.
But we need more people to
Maths in real life.
Like.
Trust me.
That's it. So, my name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And we've been the family.
Bow.